Hey friends, welcome to HeART. This is Monica C. Guidry, and today is a great day to be alive. And I am so excited because today is my 10th episode. I've been around for 2 months now, a little over 2 months, and this is episode 10. Can you believe it? I'm so excited, and it's so fitting that my guest today is my 10th interview because she was my very first interview outside of broadcasting school back in 2012. So she's kind of been in my life for about 8 years, and I say in my life, meaning as a social media presence, for about 8 years. But she was so gracious to me once I was fresh out of broadcasting school to let me interview her. I went to corporate office, and I'll get into who it is because I know you guys are like, who is it? But if you follow me, you probably already know. I am interviewing Jane Grote Abell. She is CPO. She's a Donato's Pizza chairwoman of the board. She is an author, and she is also a speaker. But outside of those many titles, she is also a wife and a mother. So thank you, Jane, for being on the show today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm also a grandmother too, by the way.
You are a grandmother.
Yeah, I have 3 grandchildren.
What are their names?
So, beautiful. My son, they're all my sons. So Roman Excelsior is right, strong name. Luca Wild is the second. So Roman is 3, Luca is a year and a half, and they just had August Brave.
Oh my!
She's 7 months.
Okay, so first of all, let's talk about those names. Those are some powerful, strong names.
Yes. That's why I said with Roman Excelsior, he better do something great, right? Like, yeah, they were very intentional about their names. So, and they're all under 3, which is
all under 3.
All under 3.
Kudos, mom and dad. Kudos, right? And you also have 2 daughters.
I have 2 daughters.
Which one is about to get married
in 4 weeks. In the middle of this pandemic, which is crazy, but I'm super happy for her and so proud of her because she's just, everybody needs to do what's right for them.
Yes.
But she's going to celebrate the love of her life that day. And that's it. So I'm proud of her. She's not whining. Usually, the biggest problem I had was what the weather was going to be like. And now we're like, do you have to wear, yes, you have to wear a mask.
You have to wear a mask.
Pants, yeah. All the other stuff that goes along with it.
You know what's interesting about that? I'm in the middle of planning my husband and I's 20th wedding anniversary.
Oh,
Thank you. I reached out to a facility here. I won't say their names, and they gave me a long list of all the new pandemic rules. And one of the rules was you can't dance.
Right.
You have to, it's like specialty dances like, bride and groom, mother of the bride, and all of that whole stuff, but nobody else can dance.
Yeah. Now there is the event space that we're at being privately held that they can socially distance dance.
Oh, good. Well, good. At least you guys can do that. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about, okay, so you're a mom, you're a wife, you're an author, like all of these things. All of the women who tune into the show, they are women who are passionately pursuing purpose or in the beginning stages of discovering what their passions are, and they're trying to figure out or rediscover their zest for life. So for you, Jane, all of these different titles, how did you come to the discovery of your passions?
It's a really good question. And I think just to complicate it even further, being a family-owned business added this whole identity thing too, right? So what is my passion? Is it the family business? Is it being involved in the community? Because I think you're familiar, we founded, my friend Tanya Crane and I founded Reeb Avenue Center. And and I would say where I really got on my knees and surrendered, those are the times that I found my true passions, right? Like when you're just so overwhelmed that you just have to surrender. And for me, that's faith. And every time I start to veer a little bit away from it or step out of it, I'm shown all the reasons why I need to come back to my purpose. But I did, probably the most critical point in time for me was right after McDonald's bought us, and then my dad and I were buying the company back from McDonald's. Mm-hmm. I had to do a lot of soul searching to make sure that I was buying the company back for the right reasons, that I wasn't buying it back to make my dad proud. Yeah. I wasn't buying it back to to build my own ego. But what was that? And I'm sharing that in a sense that I also that ended up losing myself. So I found my purpose, and my purpose truly what I refer to as my 4 C's, which is character, courage, conviction, and compassion.
Yeah.
But I lost myself in the business then I lost myself in my family. And so while I found a purpose, I lost myself. So it was a strange thing to have happen, right? So I had to then really become convicted again and understand what was most important. And the business is important and our people are important, but I wasn't balancing my life very well.
That's right.
So it's hard, but I think you have to keep your eyes wide open to where you are in life and what life has given you.
How did you end up balancing? So when you came to this, I will call it a crossroad, and you're like, okay, I have business, I have family, I have myself. So how did you find the right balance in all of that?
I didn't. So
I love it.
the first couple of years of buying the company back, I was all in, and I didn't balance my family very well at all. And unfortunately, it impacted, right? Like, of course it did. And so I was in every market and every restaurant, really trying to help the business survive, but I didn't balance my family well. And so what ended up happening, which was really interesting, a few years into it, as then running the business, I found myself obviously as a single parent going through divorce. And that's probably a critical moment in my time when I just decided I wasn't going to do that again. I was not going to not balance my life, and I was going to give everything to my family. And so I changed roles from running the company to chairwoman, and allowed me to be more philanthropic, allowed me more out in the community. That's when I did Undercover Boss. That's when I wrote a book.
Yeah.
But it shifted so that I could spend time with my children in a very different way. But I tell you, my ego, it was hard. And everybody, I like to think I didn't have a big ego, or it was just a healthy ego. But it's hard. It was hard because I found that I had to find being important in a different way. And that was a really vulnerable stage to be in. And I said it earlier this morning, I was speaking to a group, but I literally had to get to the point where my calendar had to reflect what was important to me. And once that happened, so like Wednesday nights I babysit my grandchildren, and it's on my calendar, and I didn't miss another soccer game, or I didn't. And so I think that's just a check, right? Like if you can look at your calendar and say, I go to church, so yes, that's on there. My devotions every morning are on there. And if you can look at your calendar and say, that reflects who I am, then for me, it's helping me prioritize what's most important.
That's right. I always tell people there are 3 things that you should always guard, and that's your peace, your time, and your joy.
Yeah.
Guard it with all diligence. If things don't align with those 3 things, then clear your plate. It's okay to clear your plate. It's okay to move it out the way, because those aren't the things that are going to bring you fulfillment at all.
Right.
You know? So when you stripped everything down and you were like, okay, well, who am I outside of this? Because I've been doing this so long. Did it take you a long time to discover, you know, who you were outside of that?
I would say it did, but yet it's also who I always was, right? So I discovered really truly who I am by going back to who I really have been. But life gets in your way of allowing you to always be transparent and always be authentic. And it was funny. I was talking to my dad, oh gosh, years ago, but I did remember being a little kid. I just really always wanted to be the best mom. Like, I just wanted to be a good mom. That was and I don't know why. I think maybe my mom and dad had my younger brother 9 years after me, and I loved taking care of him. I enjoyed it. And so that fed me and gave me joy, which that's why I love our business. I love our people.
Yeah.
I love seeing our vice president of people today. Her name is Nikki, who started when she was 15 years of age here. And our vice president of operations started as a pizza maker. And So I love that. And that's truly, I think that feeds my soul, right?
Mhm.
Like being, if you do the love languages, like acts of
I
service,
do.
like helping people, and quality time are mine too. Like being able to have acts of service in the community, which Reba Avenue feeds that. And I don't play music. I'm not a creative, crafty person. And sometimes I'd be like, oh, I should try to do that, but it's not authentically who I am.
Right.
Doesn't interest me. And so what I found was being in the community interests me and it feeds me. And so most recently, which I do want to share with you, just as in February, I got together with a group of women, and we call ourselves the Edge Sisters.
Mhm.
And we started talking about poverty in Columbus and the disparity and the growing gap and how bad it is. And I see it every day in South Side with Reba Avenue and our associates, right? And so we started talking about that and expressing our discomfort and how we have to help people be uncomfortable with it enough to cause change. So then we moved into COVID, and then we moved into our civil unrest. And no, that's systemic. That's always been there. But George Floyd helped our community, unfortunately, in such a tragic event, gain awareness.
Yeah.
And it's caused myself and these 12 other women to take what we started in February to really help create people in our community be in an uncomfortable space.
Wow.
Because until you're uncomfortable, you're not going to grow.
Mhm.
And so we're bringing Robin DiAngelo in on August 19th. So
Ah,
hopefully all of your viewers, it's free.
yeah.
And she is the author of White Fragility.
Mhm.
She is going to speak about the racial divide and just helping kind of our first step to, hey, community, you need to listen to this, and we all need to get uncomfortable so that we can cause change.
Wait, tell me the dates for that again. The
Au-
dates?
it's
Where?
August 19th.
August 9th.
It is a crowdsourced Zoom call,
Uh-huh.
um, and it is 5:30 to 7. I'll send you on email the link to it, and
Perfect.
so everybody can register. We have
Okay.
1,000 people signed up so far.
Oh my gosh.
So, and it's unlimited. So we want, my hope is that everybody in the community signs up and listens and learns, right? Like we
Yeah.
have to have the courage to look at ourselves, and we have to have the courage to make change, and we can no longer be silent. And
That's
so
right.
that's kind of, that was a long answer to your question, but
So good.
what I found is that's what I, what my purpose is. I believe in everybody's here for a purpose, and I believe that mine is to open doors or to be an advocate and to be a voice.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm going to try to do the best I know how. And I don't always know how, so it's a matter of just getting smart people around you.
Right.
That's what I enjoy. Like, to me, that's fulfilling. But as
You really guided me into that second question, and was like, well, how would other women that are listening, or men that are listening in, discover passion? And you said it. You said, I'm not musically inclined. I can't play an instrument. I'm not crafty. I've tried my hand at it, but it's not authentic. So really, it's you're basically saying, try things out. If it doesn't feel authentic, it doesn't feel right, try something else. And so you were led into community, where you found your passion, and you've discovered your purpose in that. Right? Would you
yeah.
say that that's true?
Absolutely true. And I think what happens, and I'm fortunate because it was Mayor Michael Coleman who called my dad, and the 3 T's, right? Like, you can give your time, talent, or treasure. And Mayor Michael Coleman, who I adore, was just like, hey, you guys got to do something on the South Side. Like, this isn't good. And I've
Yeah.
always known I had a passion for people, but once we really dug in and looked at our community in our own backyard, where one of our top 10 stores are, we're like, we have to do something. And that's probably for me where I had my aha moment. So when you recognize that it's really feeding your soul, I think you also allow your creativity, right? Because then we started things like Love Kindness,
So good.
which we go out and hand out a voucher for a free meal and a bus pass to people that are panhandling, so that they can come into Reeb and we can help them get a job, and then we can help them with education. And that's what, when we started Reeb Avenue Center, and we raised $12.5 million to renovate an old school building and we have 14 different nonprofits inside the building.
Oh,
That wasn't because I had an idea at all. That was because we were passionate to say something has to change.
yeah.
And we just kept sitting at the table.
Yeah.
And it was a group of collective, very smart people that came up with it. Similar to bringing Rob and D'Angelo to town. It's putting yourself in the space because you're passionate about it.
That's right.
Allows things to unfold.
Allows doors to open. I'm like literally tearing up over here. I don't know if you can see that, but I'm like, you can, the reason why that I'm emotional about it, because as you're speaking, I can feel your spirit, and I can feel that it's something that you're extremely passionate about. And just the fact that you said yes to something that was unfamiliar to you, and you stepped out, and then you opened the door for other people who also were purposed to do the same thing, to come in and open the doors and bridge gaps and basically create a safe space for people who are not as fortunate. And I believe that when we're living out our passions and living our purpose, that's what happens. We unlock doors, we open up windows, we create bridges and create opportunities for other people to thrive. And that's exactly what you're doing. So kudos, and I commend you for that. So look, I'm sorry, I gotta like bring myself to I'm an empath, so I like literally feel everything.
My sister's an empath.
So I literally feel everything.
I know, I'm sorry, because she shares with me a lot.
That's okay. So what I'm gonna try to like bring this to a close, because I know you have a busy day, but what would you say again to people that are listening out there and they're at this place of, okay, I'm mommy 24/7. I'm a wife, and I'm giving and doing all these things for everybody else. What about me? What about me? What would you say to them?
Well, I think I can say what I did for myself was I scheduled time on my calendar every day for myself. And I prioritized that. And so for me, it was devotions. I love to listen to music, and I love to journal. So for that's me though. Like, everybody has their own. It is first find what that is. And some it's working out, and I also do that, but it's where is that space that you're really dedicating to helping yourself be the best version of yourself? Because if we're not the best version of ourselves, we're not going to be the best version for our children or for our family or for our work or for our friends. And so, there's no simple answer, but is it allowing yourself the freedom and the courage to take risks and find what it is, because it's different for everybody. It is different for everybody.
So good. Well, I'm going to wrap things up. Thank you so much, Jane, for coming on and being my 10th interviewer. What, you know what I mean. So
I'm so proud of you. I am really proud and honored to be here and just be able to see you on Zoom, but also talk to you. I admire all the work that you're doing. You are an inspiration, and I appreciate you very much.
Thank you so much. And thank you so much to you guys that are tuning out there from all over the world. I was just sharing with Jane that I looked on my analytics, and I saw that there's another country or another part of the world that's tuning in now, and that's New Zealand. So whoever you are, hello, in South Africa and Germany and Italy, and all of you that are out there listening across the country, I just thank you. And just remember that a whole heart is a heart that's full of joy. It's a joyful heart. And that's what we're trying to do one day at a time, is develop wholeness. So until we speak, until we see, until we meet again, thank you. Bye-bye.